of being honest in relationships and being honest with life. And again, here we see how Daddy Janki described what does honesty look like in relationships. And the words that Daddy used was love. It's very, very powerful that, we can think we are honest by being blatant about certain things or just saying things in a certain way. And then we say, well, at least I'm honest. But there's so much more richness in the word honesty, which will develop sustainable relationships, that will develop inner power. Because in life, it's about being sustainable. So sometimes people say, well, I've said the truth and that's it. But I remember one of our teachers that taught me many years ago something very powerful, and that was Daddy Prakash Mani. And Daddy Prakash Mani said that always speak the truth in the backdrop of respect. If I don't have the courage to respect you, I don't have the right to say things that I think are truthful. Because only truth shared in the backdrop of respect will be digestible truth. So very, very deep, the whole aspect of understanding truth in relationships and being honest. And today we look at a third aspect under the theme of honesty and truth in order to help us develop that inner power and stepping into that inner power. And we look at the whole aspect of being honest and truthful with God or the divine or the Lord, whatever name that you are most comfortable with. There's a very beautiful part in our daily teachings that we listen to and learn from in the Brahma Kumaris. And one line that comes out very powerfully is that the Lord is pleased with an honest heart. And so the whole aspect of how honest can I really be? How much can I stay in my truth? And how much can this fill me in developing the power by feeling the closeness with the divine? So one is the power that we develop from within ourselves, but other is when that power that we have gets amplified when it is connected to the source. So a very beautiful aspect. I'm just going to share screen and just going to ask to be able to share screen. Thank you. So just the whole aspect that we look at here. So when we look at the whole aspect of just being able to go back to that initial thought of being honest and truthful with the divine. Very, very important aspect to understand within this journey. How deep is my relationship with God through which I can develop that level of being honest and truthful? And we see how, as we've developed and talked about it, it's about awareness, attitude, vision, words, and action. It all starts off with that awareness. So I want us just to stop for a minute and just ask the self the question, how honest am I in my relationship with God? Let's just take a minute and ponder on this thought, my honesty with God. So actually, if you notice, every morning, our moment of pondering is about 8 o'clock, because actually, in all our centers, on the hour, we observe a minute of silence, which we call traffic control. And during this time, we take some time to just reflect and go back to that which anchors us for the day. So coming back to the whole aspect of being honest and truthful with the divine, it's all about this journey of becoming aware. And as I become aware that when I'm connected to that source, when I stay honest with God, that journey is going to fill me with the power that I need. And that will then reflect in my lifestyle overall. So just the whole aspect that the divine is pleased with an honest heart. You know? So something to hold also for the day today, very, very powerfully, that I am the one with an honest heart and the divine is pleased with me in this way. So now the question that comes is, how do I develop this level of honesty with God? My personal experience has been that you can only be honest with someone when you've developed a relationship with them. Try and be honest with someone who you don't really have a natural relationship with. And often our words are then calculated, our words are maybe, we're very careful in certain things we reveal and certain things that we conceal in that way. But when any relationship in life becomes a real relationship, becomes an honest relationship, becomes a natural relationship, within that relationship, the level of truth and honesty that gets shared is very, very powerful. And in my own personal journey, I found that I was able to step and develop deeper inner power within my being in this relationship that I've had with the divine. One of the most powerful ones that I find really, really supports me on a daily basis is just being a child and being true to my parent. You know, it's so amazing. You know, when you have little children, when they are really young, and when they come back from school, and then maybe mom asks them, how was your day today? And they will explain in detail. They will say who they met, who they talked to, what the teacher said, everything, because there's just like the openness and the innocence of a child. Then when they grow into a teenage space, you ask them, oh, how was your day? And they say, yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good. And then as they grow older, you ask them, how was your day today? And they go, yeah. So we see how sometimes when we forget being that child, we forget being that innocent one in that way. We then become very calculated in our conversations. And that prohibits and blocks certain energies between I and the Supreme Soul. So one of the areas I find very, very nurturing for the self is just the whole aspect of how much do I become a child? No matter how old you are, no matter how much life may have burdened you with many, many responsibilities, to God, you are his precious child. And as a child, you have a right to that source, to be able to open your heart and share that which is in your heart. I find for myself, I have a journal, and every day I write to God. I write to God very, very openly. I write to God about every facet of my life. Sometimes I may be struggling with myself. through weak thoughts in my mind, then to the parent, I just say, today I'm struggling. Today I didn't feel so good about myself. Or if there was a relationship that became a bit challenging and I found that I may have struggled in that relationship, instead of just confronting that individual, I first go to the parent. And I find that when I'm able to talk to the parent, I have a very non-biased, loving, open space where, as I talk to God, I can hear the reality of the situation. And within that, then I'm able to find solutions. So I find on many, many levels, just to be able to be that child and to be able to talk to God. And sometimes, people get so frustrated and they say, well, does God really listen? In silence, God's very presence is available for each one of us. And as long as I stay honest, in my personal experience over the years as a meditator, and using this energy of honesty in my relationship with God, and being a child, I really found that the deepest part of my beings was comforted, because in that honest relationship with God, I felt a deep, deep level of security. I felt that there was a being who loved me, understood me, valued me, respected me, and I felt safe in that company. It's a very, very beautiful experience of this journey of being honest. I don't have to be clever. I don't have to be smart. I don't have to be pretentious in any way. It's the one place in my life, in front of my parent, that I can be truly candid. I can reveal the most naked energy of my being and feel totally safe, because God, as my parent, understands. So how much is there that level of honesty and truth in my relationship with the parent? Yeah. The second area also in my life that I find, in order to grow on my journey, is to be honest with God as the teacher. I used to be a school teacher myself many years ago. And sometimes you just needed a child to come at your table and say, you know what, ma'am, I really didn't understand this. And when you hear the sincerity with which they ask, it's like you put everything aside and say, okay, let me explain this to you again. And sometimes life also has certain complexities. Sometimes we look at certain things in life and the question comes, why or what? And it's not out of doubt, but we really want to learn and we want to grow and we want to understand. We see so many things happening around us, and sometimes we're looking for answers out of wisdom to be able to respond to that. Again, I find every day I take some time to study. And I have a book which is called Conversations with God. Very, very beautiful. So one is my letter to God, and the other one is Conversations with God, which is also a beautiful practice, and I love it. Recently there were certain themes that we went into deeper study within the Brahma Kumaris. And I loved the topics, but I just couldn't understand them. I thought, I'm sure they're much more deeper than I have comprehended them to be. Things like high terms like bodilessness and angelic. And I really wanted to understand the depth of it. And so I would just go with my mind to God as the teacher. And I would say that I really want to learn and I really want to grow within the space. And every morning we study. And every day I found that when I was honest and asked a question in a certain way to God, I always found the answers in certain things that I was reading. And it was like the whole experience got deepened. And when you stay honest and you learn from truth itself, your life gets enriched with wisdom. And in order to navigate our life in this way, we need to be navigated through wisdom. And wisdom can only come when we stay in the company of the truth. The truth holds eternal secrets about life. But in order for me to understand those secrets, I have to be honest enough to say, I don't understand. I want to learn and I want to grow. It's a very, very beautiful space to be able to deepen that journey. I find that's the second level of honesty in that way that has been very beautiful. So one is the honesty of just being the child. Secondly is the honesty of being a student of life and learning from the teacher of life, the one who is the eternal truth, who knows those secrets, and then let wisdom guide you. The third level of honesty that I find very, very healing for myself is to be honest with God as like the eternal surgeon or the supreme surgeon. You know, God can touch a part of your being where no human being can ever access. God's light, that pure, pure pinpoint of light, is like that laser beam that can reach that part of your being, which can really touch that which needs to be transformed and that needs to be changed. But again, it can only happen when you are honest with the surgeon. The surgeon can't help you if you don't tell the surgeon what your pain is. And again, it's very, very important when I have a relationship with someone, I'm able to tell them the deepest aspects of my life that I feel needs that kind of healing. So again, it's not about just begging to God or just emotionally getting so caught up in that moment and say, God help, God help. It's not that. God helps very, very powerfully. And God helps very, very systematically. And God helps in a way that is very, very sustainable. God doesn't believe in quick fixes. But God touches that part of your being that makes it transformative for a long period of time. You know? Today we live in a world where any little pain, you can take a painkiller or take something and you've taken care of the symptoms, and then a little while later you deal with the same pain again. And sometimes in our life we've done the same thing. There are certain areas in our lives that we've just put a Band-Aid over it and we say, okay, I'm fine now, I can carry on. But God is that supreme surgeon. When I expose my being and say this part of my being is not in a good space, this part of my being certainly needs healing. This part of my being has been bruised by my past. When I'm able to be honest with God as that supreme surgeon, deep surgery takes place within the soul. And again, I've had this as a personal experience of how at times, if there's things within my being that I felt needed deep healing, I would sit in silence in meditation and just tell God the feelings of my heart and say that the sorrow is still there, or this part of my being is taking long, it's stubborn, it doesn't want to go. And it's like just in that stillness, sitting with truth itself and feeling that God, that divine source, doing deep, deep surgery on my being. And the more and more I allow that space to be healed and grown in that way, so many things begin to happen. So this week we looked at stepping into inner power, being truthful and honest with the self, having a good relationship with others. And today, really the whole aspect of my relationship with God. And you know, when you really are honest with someone, you can look into their eyes and feel very comfortable. How often, when I look into the eyes of truth, can I feel so safe and comfortable, knowing that as I am, the way I am, I'm true to you, God. Because the Lord is then pleased with that honest heart. So we have a whole weekend ahead of us to now reflect and think about these aspects very, very deeply as we took up this theme this week of stepping into our inner power through truth and honesty. Yeah. So before I go into meditation, I'd like to open up to anyone who really would like to share or ask or contribute in any way into this journey of honesty and truth. Anybody? There's some wonderful names I see here, and I know you have been powerfully on your journey. And maybe you'd like to share. Anybody? No thoughts? I was just thinking about you, Kaya. Yeah. I just, as I saw your name, I was thinking that last year, I think it was last year, you lost a family member, right? Is that correct? And how in our online program, you had just shared honestly the pain you were feeling. It was like at that moment, you weren't doing it alone. You had the support of God, you had the support of all of us. And how sometimes in our life, when we're just honest, we receive the help. But when we hold things in and we suppress them, how we have to deal with it so alone in our journey. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah. Some beautiful things coming up in the chat. Thank you, Roshni. It's true. It's about that journey of just being really, really honest. And yeah, this very powerful, somebody shared here privately, but very powerfully is when I stopped saying the same prayer I grew up learning through religion and decided to open my heart and have a conversation with God, I really saw magic happen. It felt so liberating and the loneliness went away. So beautiful. This was just shared. And it's really true, you know. God is our eternal parent, and He wants to be with the child. He wants to have a relationship with us. There's power in a relationship, you know, and to be able to feel that in that way. Wonderful. Any last thought before we go into a short meditation? Okay. So let us now just go for a few moments inside into a space of stillness, into a space of silence. And as I step within, I become aware that I, the soul, have been on an eternal journey, a traveler through time. The only constant energy, the only constant companion on this eternal journey through time has been the one divine, the one who knows me truly as I am. This is a light of love that knows me, understands me, and accepts me for just who I am. So in the silence of this moment, I once again connect with that source. And in this pure relationship with the one, I feel like a child who's safe in the company of the parent. I feel supported and guided on my journey through wisdom in the company of God as my supreme teacher. And oh, beloved, you have heard the deepest parts of the journey of either soul. And opening my heart to you, you have allowed the deepest wounds within my being to be healed. O eternal surgeon, in the stillness of my moment with you, with honesty, I open my heart. I open those parts of my being which I myself may have been afraid to see. But in such pure energy, the energy of the divine source, I, the soul, am healed. Being with you, O divine source, I step into my inner power. I stay with you. Thank you, Sister Belinda. Yes, I've had a beautiful journey with Sister Belinda in this journey of understanding honesty and truth. It's been very powerful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Dipti. Such a beautiful session this morning. And I was just thinking too that, you know, where there's honesty with God, there is also the feeling of being worthy, that we are worthy of God's help and God's guidance, and of course, God's love. And that sense of worthiness is such a power within us. So thank you. That was a very beautiful session. And I think we have some nice things coming up, and I think Danielle will perhaps put something on the screen for us. I know on Monday, the meditation course is starting. There we have it. So that's Monday evening from 7 to 8 p.m. South African time. And on Tuesday, of course, is our guided meditation evening. And that is cultivating a diamond-like life. So 2 lovely things to look forward to. Please do let your friends and family know if they would like to join the meditation course. And I think there's a question in the chat. Is there any program over the weekend? Actually, this weekend, normally on a Saturday, we would have a program, but there isn't a South African program that we are having, but so the next one will be Monday. So thank you all once again. Carry this lovely feeling and energy with you over the weekend. And of course, Rise and Shine will be there on Monday morning. And it's been lovely to be with you this week. And you will have a new host on Monday. But thank you so much for being with us. And the request is please to send details of the upcoming events. I think if you would like to be on the events notice, I think you can there. Danielle has put up the number where you can request details so that you will get it on an ongoing basis. So a big thank you to the whole team behind the scenes, Danielle and Nitya and everyone who's been helping, and have a wonderful weekend. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, sisters. Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend.
Where do I go with all these feelings and all these faces?